to ECCB Connects. What is required to double the size of the economy in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union over the next decade? This is a question posed by Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Timothy N.J. Antoine, coined as the Big Push Challenge. This week, we share the Governor's perspectives on what is required to achieve this big push as he delivered the 9th annual Carol Bristol Distinguished Lecture Series organized by the UWI Global Campus in Grenada. Stay with us, we'll share more with you after this message.
We are counting down to the end of season 24 of ECCB Connects, with the final episode of this season airing on 27th March. We'll be back in May 2024 with fresh and informative programs to continue sharing with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you. In the meantime, stay connected with us on all our social media platforms at ECCB Connects.
Welcome back. Governor of the ECCB, Timothy N.J. Antoine, delivered the 9th annual Carol Bristol Distinguished Lecture Series on 5th March in Grenada. In his lecture, titled Grenada's Coming of Age, or Big Push for Transformation, the Governor outlined some critical enablers and drivers for transformation, specifically in Grenada, in line with the Big Push Challenge: the people, the public finances, the plan, the process, and the payoff. He also explained how the ECCB supports the Big Push Challenge, not only in Grenada, but throughout the currency union.
Our topic this evening, as you can see, Grenada's coming of age, or big push for transformation. That topic leverages the milestone moment in which we find ourselves with Grenada at 50. It also speaks to a challenge I posed when the ECCB celebrated launch of celebrations of our 40th anniversary last year, the so-called Big Push Challenge. And thirdly, it speaks to the current thrust of the government of Grenada for transformation. So that's where the topic came from. For those of you who do not recall, the Big Push Challenge is framed as a question. Here's the question: what will it take to double the size of our economy over the next 10 years? Life expectancy in Grenada is now average around 75 years. Part of the reason why it is not higher, in Singapore it is 82 years, for example, is because if you look at the bottom of your screen, it's the non-communicable diseases, the chronics, diabetes, hypertension, obesity, heart disease, cancers. What does this slide say? 4 in 5 Grenadians are dying from the chronics. In fact, it is 83%, so we round that to 4 in 5. 80% is 4 in 5. 4 in 5 Grenadians are dying from the chronics. When you put migration with the low fertility rate for 2, plus the high incidence of NCDs, we begin to understand why the population has not grown significantly over the last 50 years. People in their primes are dying from these chronics. All of us know folks, family, classmates who have died in their prime from the chronics. We lost some people in the COVID because of the chronics. We have to address this issue, folks. The doubling, so I'm beginning to show you, this is not simply about economics. There are health issues involved, their education, their migration, a range of issues which we have to consider if we're going to make that big push. Natural disasters, climate change. According to an IMF study in 2018, the Caribbean is 7 times more likely than anywhere else in the world to be hit by a natural disaster. 7 times more. And the losses from those disasters are 6.5 times higher than the global average. IMF study, Bracing the Storm 2018. That tells you what we're dealing with respect to the climate crisis that we're facing. According to the Future of Jobs report from the World Economic Forum, the next few years, technology-related jobs will lead the way in jobs growth. So obviously, if we're looking at creating jobs in this economy, we have to look at technology and the cognitive skills that are required to grow the economy. Where will the opportunities come from? Very quickly, here are some of the skills that are required. The demand, information security. With all of this information, digital technologies, comes the need for cybersecurity. One of the biggest areas of need right now, even our central bank, we have put out several times, is to get IT security specialists. And we are finding it's not so easy to recruit them. And even when they're available, they're being picked up by US and Canada and elsewhere because we can't pay what they're being paid in those countries. At this moment, Grenada is only doing 4% of our electricity mix in renewables. 4%. We have some of the highest rates of electricity in the world at between 35 and 40 US cents per kilowatt hour. There is no way we could transform Grenada with paying that high cost of electricity. Think about what it is for our household. Think about what it is for government. Think about what it is for our foreign reserves. And by the way, if you think your electricity bill high, just understand where the climate is going. When I was growing up, AC was a luxury for rich people. Only rich people could afford AC. Nowadays, AC or you die. The point I'm making is that transforming this country requires that we move quickly on renewables. Obviously, solar PV, geothermal, possibly tidal. Those are some of our options. So we gotta get moving on that. On financial literacy, I will simply say this. Only 1 in 3 Grenadians, 1/3, have insurance, have pension, and have stocks. 1 in 3. That means 2/3 do not have. When we did the survey last year, 2022 now, on financial literacy, 2023, we found that only 1 in 2 persons are financially resilient in the currency union. So if I look around this room, I could make a fair conclusion that perhaps half of us, are not financially resilient. And what I also happen to know is a degree doesn't matter. There are people with degrees who have no idea how to manage money. Absolutely no idea. Every talk I do, I like to leave a few key messages. In a sense, if you remember nothing else from the talk, here are the key messages. We have 3. Key message number 1. Transformation demands a critical mix of mindset, skill set, policy set, accompanied by essential investments. That's the first message. Second key message is this. Transformation necessitates bold and courageous leadership and an unprecedented coming together of Grenadians, home and abroad, to take collective action. And my third and final message is this. Transformation requires a relentless pursuit of resilience. Some of you may be saying, well, government has put out some ideas, they put some numbers on the table. How is ECCB going to help with all of this? Well, let me tell you what we're doing. Quickly. 1, our first job is to maintain the strength of the EC dollar. I want to confirm tonight that our EC dollar remains strong. The current backing is 95% foreign reserves. The second job for the bank is financial stability, keeping your deposits safe. That's why we have a team of examiners. As we speak, examiners wave, ECCB examiners, all ladies, by the way, all ladies. They're all from the central bank, and they are on mission in Grenada right now in a couple of our banks doing what they do. Every few weeks, they are in the field inside of banks, examining, doing the job to make sure that deposits are kept safe. A job we take very, very seriously. We're doing that, and we have to continue to do that. Access to credit. We have launched the partial credit guarantee scheme, which is intended to make credit available to small businesses up to $750,000 with a guarantee of about 75-80% through your financial institution, your bank or your credit union or the development bank. Grenada, I think, has now done about 5 million, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not looking at the numbers as we speak. But we want to see more uptake on that. So Republic Bank and Co-op Bank in particular are the ones who have been pushing it of late, and we want to encourage all of our banks and credit unions to get involved. The next thing we're doing is a credit bureau. How many of you are familiar with a credit bureau? Credit score, credit registry? There's no way in a modern economy that you can operate without a credit bureau. If you go in any of the advanced economies, or even nearby, Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad, and so on, they have a credit bureau. We don't have one. This year, we are launching the credit bureau. Everywhere we have gone, everywhere we have researched around the world, wherever a credit bureau has been established, credit has increased. And if you want to grow the economy, you have to grow credit. Businesses have to take risks, they have to be credit. Small businesses, householders, you have to have access to credit. So that's what that is about. Climate resilience, one of the things we're working on right now is that renewable energy infrastructure facility to help our governments and our country to move faster on renewables. I don't know if you know this, but at ECCB, at our campus, we have gone green, meaning that we have solar PV plus storage, means that we are generating 100% of our electricity on campus. Finally, a quote that I use whenever I do a talk. It's a bit of a mantra, a little anthem, if you will now. As a region, we cannot change our history, nor can we change our geography. But together, we can elevate our development trajectory through innovation and collective action. Fellow Grenadians, it has been my absolute pleasure to deliver this lecture in honor of the distinguished Carol Bristol, QC. Thank you.
ECCB Connects is the official handle of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. How do you know it's the ECCB? All posts and reactions made by the ECCB on social media will carry the username ECCB Connects and feature this profile picture. Other pages with the name Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, such as these, are not official pages. Like, subscribe, and follow us today. You'll know it's the ECCB by this profile pic and the handle at ECCB Connects.
This is where we ended this week's episode of ECCB Connects, where we shared excerpts from a lecture delivered by Governor of the ECCB, Timothy N.J. Antoine, titled Grenada's Coming of Age, or Big Push for Transformation. In his speech, the governor put forward the challenge to double the size of the economies of the ECCU over the next decade. To view the full presentation, visit our social media platforms at ECCB Connects. Thanks so much for watching, and join us next week for another episode of ECCB Connects.